Today it is lecture number 36. We will talk about joint behavior in random process. And in last class I had already told that random process, it happens to be sequence of random variables. So you will see a collection of random variable in a single random process. That means in order to depict evolutionary behavior of a system, any kind of system where we face randomness. Like one example, in last class we had taken that you are taking signal where amplitude was random in nature. So if there is a what was amplitude was the source of randomness. So that's way we are getting a signal with various amplitude, and that variation depends upon randomness of amplitude. So in that process we are getting a sequence of random variables. So for each value of outcome omega, we are getting a sequence of random variable each t. So the evolutionary, so each t we are getting a sequence of random variable. So generally we are denoting the sequence by x and notation. Then we will, in order to cover a continuum of evolution. But why? Because when we are talking about population dynamics, then what we observe that whenever we say that population at time current time and after 10 year or after 20 year or 30 year, we always take time there in continuous pattern. That means time happens to be between current time to uh, uh, 10 year after current time. So like even after 10 then 20 years, so there is a continuum of time, it is a continuum in nature. So this sequence we can generalize to here it is a n is discrete in nature, so we can take in this indexing. So here n you can call it, it is indexing nature. So here we generalize it to what, uh, for evolutionary process we generalize it to xt, and we say that t is any time parameter, you can say that, but our any time index, and generally t coming from the index set capital T. Okay, so that means this capital T, it might be an interval or it might be an infinite, so time can't be negative. So either it may, the interval may be, so someone is just studying one evolutionary process in a finite interval. In that process you can take interval, finite interval, that means 0 to some fixed quantity a, like this way. And if someone is willing to study the stability nature of the evolutionary process, then that person have to look up to infinity. That means when time is very big, then what kind of nature the system will take, that evolution of the system or evolution of the population will take. So for that perspective you can take this index at t from 0 to up to infinity, not including infinity, up to infinity, just so like this here. Openness is coming at interval. Closeness you can take it at 0, or someone is saying that no, my uh, starting time would be my current time. So from no one actually no one claimed that I started from the beginning. So from wherever they start, they may consider that time as a starting time. So from that perspective you can introduce t naught. T naught is your starting time, and it will go wherever you want, t naught to a. Suppose a you are going, so it is completely depends upon problem, what problem you are taking. So the value of time from indexing set, it will depends upon the problem oriented. Now I mentioned that random process, it happens to be a sequence of random variable, and it is generalized to like this way, where time sequence or time index sequence, you can say that time index sequence. So if we observe in a random process, we are getting a number of random variables. So if you are having number of random variable for different time, like time t1 t2, like you can plot the graph of like this way, xt versus t. Better plot in a better way. So plot like so horizontal axis, it is talking about index and indexing line, and vertical take it like this way, xt. Okay, the xt versus t. So for each t we can observe a random variable for each t, like t1 time t1, time 2 t2, time t3, like that way. So we can observe for each time instance t, we can observe a random variable, and whatever property we have already studied for the random variable, whether it is discrete, continuous, or mixed, or joint, whatever is, we will study those properties here in order to explain a random process. Okay. So I'm going further as a recap of that introduction to random process. So I had taken one example of that signal with what was the source of randomness. Source of randomness was the amplitude. Amplitude was random in nature. So that we had already discussed. That means this kind of signal we had taken x of t. Generally, random process we define it with two argument. One argument we are calling it time argument. Another argument we are calling it outcome argument, or that omega outcome argument, that omega directly associated with sample space of the corresponding random experiment. So that's where source, if someone is asking what is the source of randomness in a random process, then directly you can answer omega would be source of randomness. So in last class we had expressed about a signal with random amplitude omega of cos of 2 pi t and something like we can say that. So time is not a source of randomness. Remember that here t is not a source of randomness. Omega is the source of randomness. So it depends upon what kind of where you want to fix that omega, where you want to put that omega. So omega is the source of randomness. So it is a random process here. Time t you can take it from 0 to infinity and wherever you want. So here it is a cosine signal. Even you can take negative value of t as well. So it is possible. So if you are not involving what time, then you can also take it negative value. So t belongs to minus pi to pi, or you can take it any interval, any interval. So pi actually what happens? Cosine and sine, all trigonometrical functions are having all periodic in nature. So period of those trigonometrical function happens to be expressed in term of pi. That's why pi interval is taken for sake of simplicity. Okay. Uh, Now coming to second example of random process, that here I'm talking about randomness is coming in the phase. So phase is the source of randomness. So here if we observe a signal, and we know that what is meaning of phase. So and take any signal, suppose uh, sine 2 pi t, 2 pi t, and here another part happens to be this part. We used to say that if nothing we are putting, that we say that sine is starting from 0, phase 0. So it is, that means origin. Okay. If we want to put some kind of phase phi, we are saying that it is starting, suppose pi by 4, then sine is starting from pi by 4. That is that phase. So here we are saying that this pi is not a fixed number. Here in place of pi we take a random variable, a random outcome, sine of 2 pi t, 2 pi t plus omega. So here we can observe that the phase is actually random in nature. So this signal which random phase. So omega again same. What is the domain of omega, where omega is having positive probability? That means having non-negative probability. Simply we can say that. And so taking omega, we selected a random from the interval minus pi to pi, and we are defining a continuous time domain process. How this random process we are defining cos of 2 pi t plus omega, and t is varying from minus infinity to infinity. We know that sine is very smooth kind of function and very nice function. It is defined from minus infinity to infinity. So that's why we can take. It depends upon our choice what interval we want to take for time, indexed time. Okay, so it is totally depends upon our choice. But here sine cosine function is very nice, so we can take interval from minus infinity to infinity. Okay, and here we can observe that what is the source of randomness in this random process. Simply you can say that phase is the source of randomness. Phase is here random in nature. Okay. So simply for each fixed omega, we will get a realization of random process that would be just function of time. And suppose we are uh, and for that if you are fixing that value of omega, that becomes what? That becomes a what? It becomes a phase of the corresponding signal. Okay. So like this way, I have taken two omega equal to 0, one value of omega equal to 0, then you will observe omega equal to 0, it is starting. So you can say that it is starting like this way, omega cosine. So cosine, what is the graph of cosine at 0? What is the value of cos? It is 1. And at 90 or negative 90, it happens to be 0. So here it is 0 at 90 or negative 90. So you can observe that. So this is the cosine signal for 0 phase. Here phase 0. But if you are taking phase equal to pi by 4, it has been shifted. So this dotted graph of the cosine wave, you observe this one is the phase with respect to pi by 4. Okay, so likewise you can define various phase, but here omega you can't take in a deterministic fashion. You need to take omega from some distribution. So you are also taking omega from some probability distribution. That's why omega is random in nature, and hence we are getting a random process. So simply we can say that it is a random process. And two realization we have already seen that. That means two realization means it is random process. This random process as a function of time where omega is fixed. So this one is one realization. This one is another realization. Okay. Now going further, so we can say same thing. I would like to repeat it here. Question would be, what is the random source of randomness in random process? So that randomness what we observe in omega, that induce the randomness in the observed function x, this bivariate function xt of omega. In principle, one can reduce the probability of event. So probability of event, which is involving a stochastic process at various time of instance, from probabilities involving omega by using the equivalent event derived random variables and its distribution. So for each t we are getting a random variable. For each t we are getting a random variable. So if you are taking a t fixed wise, that constant wise, if you fixing t, then x of t omega, it would be just function of omega. In that perspective we can say that x of suppose it is, you are taking t1, so t x of t1 omega, it would be a random variable. Okay, so now here few questions are here. First question is that, so we have to find the probability of events associated with a random process. So first we are going to find here question is that, find the following probability of the random process. So random process, same random process we had taken it, that is binary representation of binary expansion of any number. Binary, that means we here one is decimal representation, another one is binary representation. In decimal representation, actually entries happens to be starting from 0 to 9, 0 to 9. So every entry we express in terms of 0 to 9. But when we are calling it binary expression, then entries happens to be only 2, either it will be 0 or 1. Okay, so that this is the binary random process associated with binary representation. That means we are taking any random number from the interval 0 to 1. Okay, and we are taking any number from 0 to 1, and what we do, we are trying to express omega as a binary expansion. Okay, then we are calling it we are getting coefficient. This coefficient bi, it would come from where? Binary system. That means either bi would be 0 or bi would be 1. Okay, so and this, with respect to this coefficient, binary coefficient, we denote a random process. Okay, this is the random process. And now we are having question that we have to find the probability that when, whether call it time or whether call it n. So when a time is equal to 1, then what is the probability that we have to find the probability equal to 0. This this random variable is taking value, this random variable is taking value 0. What is the probability that this random variable is taking value 0 for time equal to 1? And for similarly, what is the probability that for time equal to 1 and time equal to 2, this joint random variable, is taking value 1? So what is the probability? So these two probability we will calculate it. So first one is very simple to calculate. So simply if we are taking time equal to n equal to 1 and equal to 0, it simply signifies that omega will take value between 0 and 1 by 2, and we know that omega we have taken from this interval uniformly. So just that one is directly related with area, so that area happens to be 1 by 2. That okay, so directly we are getting calculate, we can calculate what is the length, or simply we can relate it with length of the interval. So length of the interval is what, 1 by 2. Okay, similarly if we are going for to calculate this joint probability of this joint event, so you can observe that one event is this one, another event is this one, so these two are occurring jointly, so joint occurrence of these two. So this one is directly equivalent to say that omega is taking value for this this one is saying that this one is equivalent to say that omega is taking value between 1 by 4 and 1 by 2, and if you are talking about okay, there are so simply I have taken it joint, so jointly it can express as that omega is taking value between 1 by 4 and 1 by 2, and what is the length of interval 1 by 4 and 1 by 2, so you can easily calculate length of this interval would be 1 by 4. So the probability would be, desired probability would be 1 by 4. You can subtract 1 by 2 minus 1 by 4, result would be 1 by 4. Clearly, we can say that any sequence of k bits has a corresponding subinterval of length 2 to the power minus k, like this way. Okay, you need to do a lot of practice regarding that. So now, question third is, we are talking about binary expansion. Here I will take now sine wave. Sine and cosine wave, and we will find probability of that. Okay, for different type. Okay, so consider we are taking omega from the interval -1 to 1, that and consider a continuous time random process, that omega cosine of 2 pi t. Here omega is amplitude which is random in nature, and omega, what is the distribution of omega? It might be uniform, it might be given, so some hint might be given. Generally we are taking nothing, no information is given, then generally by default we consider the omega happens to be uniform, uniformly distributed in the interval -1 to 1, if no information is given. So by default you can take it like that way. Okay, so now our question is that we are fixing time here, the t naught. So t naught, that we do not after fixing time t naught, then this random process, it becomes function of omega only, and we denote it by x naught. Our question is that what is the, if x naught, definitely it is a function of omega only, so it happens to be a random variable. So our question is that what is the pdf, probability density function of this one. Why? Because here omega is taking value continuously from the interval -1 to 1, so that's way this x naught would be continuous in nature. That's why we are not going to calculate probability mass function, we need to calculate what, probability density function. Okay, so if t naught is such that, so various scenario we are taking it here. If t naught is such that, so 2 pi of t naught equal to 0, suppose it is 0, then what happens? So in that, if this quantity is 0, and we know that random process is product of this amplitude and this signal, so if you multiply these two, and we have already taken this for this t naught, uh, we know that cos of 2 pi t naught equal to 0 is having infinitely many solutions. You might be aware from your high school algebra, trigonometry, you might be aware of that. Okay, so for various t naught, you can, this one will have various solutions. So for this one of particular t naught, you can say that x of t naught of omega equal to 0. Why? Because of this assumption. Okay, for every omega, so omega may be anything. Now what is the question of, then what is the pdf of this one? So I will explain this. So it is directly you can get it actually pdf of x naught, x of t naught, or simply x naught. It would be what, it would be delta function. It would be delta function of unit weight at x equal to 0. I will explain this later when I will after covering covariance function, correlation function, and mean function, those kind of things, and Fourier transform as well. Those things will come. Otherwise, we can say that x naught of x naught, this x naught, simply we can say that this one is x naught, or simply x of t naught omega. It is uniformly distributed in the interval. This one, if provided it is already mentioned that omega is taking value uniformly from the interval -1 to 1. If some information is given that omega is taking value uniformly from the interval -1 to 1, in that case, what happens? So randomness, source of randomness is omega. So omega is uniformly distributed here. You can observe uniformly distributed. So this will act here. T naught we have taken as a fix, and in this case, otherwise, that means here we are taking a scenario cosine of 2 pi t. It is not equal to 0. This one is the case one. Case one cosine. Case one, you can say that like this way. This is case two when cosine of 2 pi t naught is not equal to 0. Okay. This is second case when it is not. You know that cosine function can take 0 value for various t. So that's why we are taking two different cases. So in this case, what happens that this quantity would be non-zero. So simply we are not getting a constant random process. So what is happening? Okay, what is happening that we can talk about then it will behave, if it is non-zero it will behave like constant. So complete that randomness of the random process, it will be described by omega only. So that's why if you are taking omega as a uniformly distributed random variable from -1 to 1, due to that the corresponding one instant of random process, it would be also uniformly distributed in the interval piece. Okay, and plot you can observe like this way. This is the plot of this one instance of the random process. Now we are going to discuss about joint behavior of random process. So joint behavior is very much essential to study, because the random process in a random process we observe sequence of random variables on various time instances. So if you are we are willing to study various time instances, so what we have to observe that so we have to take a few fixed number of those times, and at those times definitely we will have random variable. So suppose k number of fixed time t1 t2 up to tk we are taking, then how we can study the behavior of random process jointly by considering those random variable at those fixed time. Those are random variable we will give a name time sample later. So I will talk about motivation, then I will go to discuss that. So just knowledge of the distribution at a single time instant cannot answer many questions of the random process. We have to know nature of behavior of random variable at various time, random process at various time. So EG, we may be, for example, we may be interested in the temperature at a given local at two different times. This requires the this joint distribution. This joint distribution, that means this x of t1 it is talking about temperature at time t1, x of t2 it is talking about temperature of time t2. So in order to express those two times in together, we need to know this joint probability distribution. Okay, then other example you can take it like this way. In a speech compression system in a cellular phone that predicts the value of a speech signal at next sampling time based on the previous k samples. Previous k sample what you have taken, so it is based on that. Okay, so thus we may interested in the this conditional probability. That means suppose uh, our speech signal at time tk plus 1. Suppose it is between what is the probability that our speech signal at the time tk plus 1 is between a and b. So it definitely it would be conditioned by history. So these are the history. So what was the speech signal at time t1, what was the speech signal at time t2, what was the speech signal at time just previous time tk. So completely this one is conditioned by this speech signal at time tk plus 1. It is totally conditioned by history at previous time. So these are the t1 to tk, all these are previous time. So we need to know what is the nature of random variable at those point. Okay, at those time, at those times. So that's where here we need to calculate conditional probability. So sometimes conditional probability will come, sometimes joint probability will come. So it depends upon what kind of choices coming. So simply we can say that a general description of random process should provide probabilities of vectors of sample of the process, or simply we can say that a random vector. The random vector concept, because we are considering various random variable at various time instances. Okay, so due to that we are getting a fixed number of random variables. If you are taking those variables in together and try to study jointly, then we always put in the term of vector. So that's where random vector term is coming in here. And in previous module we had already expressed everything about that. So one idea I will discuss about how we can sample random variables from a given random process. So simply this x of t omega, that means it is a random process with having two argument. One is time argument, that one is talking about evolutionary process, and omega it is talking about randomness. So it might be clear to everyone. Now what we do sampling. We do sampling at various instances. So those instances happens to be t1 t2 up to tk. So at t1 we will get one random variable x of t1 term omega. At t2 we will get another random variable that we will call it x2 xt2 of omega, and likewise at tk we will get another random variable that we will call it xtk of omega. Okay, so those k number of random variable we will get, and those k number of random variable, just from sampling we are doing this sampling from a given random process. So another name we can call it time samples. So we are sampling at different time, so short name we can call it time samples. Okay, so let we consider x1 x2 xk with a k random variable obtained by the sampling of the random process xt of omega at different times t1 t2 up to tk. Then we can go for simple notation, like because here this notation needs two argument. So we can go for simple notation like x t1 of omega. Here when we are taking t1, that means t1 is now fixed, so there is no variation in t1. So we can give a notation of this one x1, just we can call it x1. X1 is nothing, just x of the value of random process as t1. Okay, and x2 is what, again value of random process as t2, and so that's why another random variable, and xk is a value of random process as tk, that's why another random variable. In that process we are just sampling at k number of time. So in that process we are getting k random variables, and all these random variable we can also call it time sample. So just two example I have taken it here. So if you are taking like there are for various omega, you will get various realization of random process. So here if you are taking t1, so you can observe that this t1 with respect to t1, this okay, with respect to t1, so t1 is fixed along this one, omega is varying vertically. So from that perspective we can say that we are getting one random process. uh, okay, this is with respect to one random process. Similarly the t2, at time t2 we are getting another random process. So okay, uh, with respect to t1 we are getting one random process, t1 t1 comma omega, and simply we can denote it by x1. You can, for simplicity you can denote it by x1. Like at time t2 we are getting another random variable that we are denoting by x2. At t3 we are getting at t3 we are getting another random variable that we denote it by x3, and likewise at tk we are getting another random variable that we denote it by xk. So that means we need to be very much confirm that how many sample we want to take. So it would be completely based on our choice what we. So you have to be pre decided that how many number of sample you want to take. So if you are taking k number of sample, that means at a time k random variables are coming. So if k the random variable are coming, then jointly if you want to study, so you need to introduce a random vector term here. So that's why we are introducing a random vector. This capital X, bold in nature, it is studying joint behavior of the random process at these k time instances, and it is always specified by the joint CDF of the random vector X with k component. So this is the random vector. So whatever theory we had actually in previous module, so everything will come in here. So going further, I will talk about now joint distribution of the time samples. So once I'm calling it time sample, so it might be clear to everyone. Time sample, this means it is random vector. K times one random vector. That means first one is x1, first component is x1, second component is x2. Likewise, last component happens to be sample size is k, so last component would be xk. And what is x1? X1 is talking about random variable x at time t1. So further you can elaborate it. So the stochastic process is specified by the collection of kth order joint CDF. Kth order joint CDF. That okay. And how we define CDF? So we joint CDF we always define by that probability. This joint probability that the x1 is taking value up to x1, capital X2 random variable x2 is taking value up to small x2, and likewise xk is taking value of small xk. So this CDF is defined by this way, and we are having enough idea to study to understand all this CDF of a random vector. If the suppose further scenario we are putting it here. So this one is general scenario. This joint random variable or random vector, it may be anything, whether it may be mixed kind of nature, or it may be continuous, or it may be discrete, or it may be any kind of things. Okay, so if suppose the stochastic process is continuous value, that means each exercise happens to be continuous in nature, then better thing is that we need to introduce probability density function in place of CDF, because for continuous random variable probability density function is well defined. So that's why we are introducing a CDF. And how we can get CDF? Just differentiate the PDF and you get CDF. So just what we do, better visualization, what you do, calculate probability in a very infinitesimal width, width along dimension. Each dimension is what, like this way, dx1 along x1 dimension, dx2 along x2 dimension. So density is what, probability per unit area kind of things is there. So that's where yeah, this density multiply with this elementary area, and you will express that it will be equal to this elementary probability. Okay. So just what you do, so through this way you can easily calculate what is the joint density of the random vector. So this is the process to calculate joint density of random vector. But suppose we are having a stochastic process or random process which is discrete, we taking discrete random uh, uh, random component, okay, or discrete random value. Then the corresponding joint nature of the this k order k time sample we can express through probability mass function. So this will be defined by that x1 is taking value x1, x2 is taking value x2, and xk likewise xk is taking value a small xk. So this is the scenario when the stochastic process is taking discrete value, like you are counting number of buses passes through a particular stop, bus stop, or you can count number of call drop when you are uh, receiving a call, then number of call drop, and many different kind of discrete nature is coming like that way. So this is the story regarding random process, introduction to random process. So here I will take a few more example, that joint distribution of time samples, further joint distribution. So here few example I will talk about. So few example I will take it here. So consider action with the sequence of independent and identically distributed Bernoulli random variable. So action, it is a random process. You can simply say that it is a Bernoulli random process where each component happens to be a Bernoulli random variable. With what is the probability of success? Each component is having probability of success 1 by 2. Okay, very nice scenario we have taken. So now question is coming that what is the joint PMF of any k time sample? So we have to calculate joint PMF of this sample. Okay, so it's very easy to calculate. Here we have taken already IID situation, the independent situation. Due to that, we can express this joint probability as a product of individual probability. So just what is the probability of individual xi, it is 1 by 2. So probability of success 1 by 2. So 1 by 2 we are multiplying how many times? K, sample size is K, so that's why 1 by 2 we are multiplying K 10. So that's why joint probability of this n, sorry, K times sample, it would be 1 by 2 to the power K. Suppose we are taking another sequence of random variable. That one happens, each xn happens to be Gaussian in nature, and also IID, that means independent and identically distributed. That means all random variables happen to be having same distribution, and those distribution is what? Gaussian distribution. And what kind of Gaussian distribution? It is having zero mean and variance having sigma square x. Okay. So now we have to find the joint PDF. Here Gaussian distribution happens to be continuous in nature, so we need to find PDF. So what is the joint PDF of this K times sample? This K times sample, that means K sample size is K. That means at K number of time we are calculating value of random process at K number of time. Okay, that's way. So what is the PDF? So it is very simple, that we know that every Gaussian happens to be, any two Gaussian happens to be independent in nature. So easily from their perspective we can calculate the joint PDF of Gaussian. How? It would be just product of individual PDF of Gaussian, and if you do product of all those individual PDF of Gaussian, that means a Gaussian x1, x2, x2, like up to xk, and you do multiplication. After that you are getting, that means exponential function always happens to be, if you multiply any two exponential function, then argument will what? They will add up. So due to that we can easily calculate what is the PDF of K time sample. So remember, simply I can call it time sample, but you also remember that what is the sample size. So that's why what is the PDF of K time sample? This is the PDF of K time sample. Okay. Third question is that suppose xn be a sequence of again independent and identically distributed Bernoulli random variables with probability of success 1 by 2, and suppose we are defining a new random variable xk. It is sum of xk, or you can call it n. I have taken it n number of random variable, first n number of random variable, or first, okay. So Sn, we are calling it Sn. Sn is sum of n number, first n number of Bernoulli random variable. So we had already seen that if you summing first n number of, or simply n number of Bernoulli random variable, then summation always happens to be a binomial random variable. So this would be, Sn would be binomial random variable. Then what is the probability of success? Probability of success would be P, and n would be the parameter. Okay, what is the n you are taking it? Then so n may be 0, maybe, okay, some you can avoid 0, you can sum, you can take it 1 2 3 4 likewise. So it depends upon how many terms you want to take, so it depends upon that you can define sum. So your Sn, it would be binomial in nature. So also you can directly talk about it, because Sn is binomial in nature, so you don't need to define that joint probability, joint density, or joint probability mass kind of things. Directly you can define density of this, or distribution of this Sn from binomial distribution. Directly you can define it, because you are having idea of binomial distribution. Third, last question, we will talk about that that noisy, we are having a noisy signal, and from that noisy signal we want to filter out the noise. So that's why this problem we are calling it filter noisy signal. So filter noisy signal, what we consider that, suppose xi be a sequence of independent and identically distributed observation of a signal voltage. So that means we are not able to calculate, measure signal directly. What we do, we can measure signal with some noise. We can't here we are having, definitely someone is doing measurement, definitely it is not a pure measurement, a concrete measurement. Always some kind of noise will come. So anytime when we try to measure a signal voltage, it would be corrupted with definitely it would be corrupted with some kind of noise. And for simplicity, that noise happens to be Gaussian noise with zero mean and variance sigma square. So each measurement of the signal voltage is associated with a Gaussian noise of zero mean and variance sigma square. Then what we have to do, we have to define this process by xi equal to mu plus ni, where I vary from 0 up to, it will go on like this way. That means a number of measurement, how many times of you do measurement. So xi is talking about measurement, or simply you can say that indexing or state. So here, how can we estimate mu? So our target is we can estimate mu. So just recall what previous module, that law of large number concept. What we do, we have to define here sample mean. Sample mean of this sequence of random variable. We are having sequence of random variables, so we are defining a sample mean. That means we are taking first n random variables and dividing by n. So we are getting a sample mean. And when sample size is very large, it will converge to where? It will converge to mean, actual mean of the system. What is the actual mean of this one? Mu. So it will converge to mean when n is very large. So how you can verify that? It is very simple. Just calculate mean of the sample mean. Mean of the sample mean happens to be mu. It is very simple to calculate because every xi is having mean mu. Because why? Because mean of ni is 0. So that's why there is no contribution of mean from this noisy part. Just mean will contributed by this one. So that's this is the mean of each xi, and from that you can deduce that mean of sample mean is mu, and similarly variance of sample mean is sigma square by n. And when n is very large, that means sample size is very large, it will approach to variance will approach to 0. That means your sample mean will converge to mean. Okay, this we are calling directly, it will come from law of large number. Okay. So other thing we'll cover in next class regarding attendance. Just mark your attendance in the comment box, and further if you are having any questions you can ask. In next class we will cover mean, correlation and covariance function in detail, and we will try to relate